Kornick is a first-year middle school social studies teacher working in a North Chicago suburb. Mr. Kornick has asked instructional expert Jim Knight to observe him and provide feedback on his planning and how to better structure his questioning of students to enhance their participation.
I'm always looking for ways to improve. I'm always looking for ways to better my practice, to be able to reach my kids, to be able to involve my parents, to be able to really create a learning environment that's set up for higher learning and performance and results, I guess. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we are today. We just finished up our unit on ancient China, and now we are going to be taking part in a little activity. You want the kids to be not only learning the content that you're providing, but doing it in a way that's efficient and also somewhat enjoyable. And if you can harness those two things, it always makes for a well-rounded lesson. I am starting up a company, and as you can see on the board, it is Kornick's Cool Cats. Now, I have hired all of you as my employees, and you guys are going to be producing the Cool Cats for me, all right? Now, here's where you explain the activity. This is what I thought was great. Okay. You will all notice that you have a tag on your desk, correct? Labeled 1 through 10. Now, if we look on our model up here, each person is going to be making a different part of the cat. The first person who has a 1 on their desk is going to draw the head, so you're going to be making the circle for the head. The 2 are going to be making the ears, okay? So, what you did is you drew the diagram, then you pointed out this, you're number 1, you're number 2, you're number 3. Everybody knows exactly what they're doing. And then when you let them loose, there was no chaos whatsoever. Because if you didn't do that, it would fall apart pretty quickly. All you need to do is you need to make 5 cool cats. Once you are done, you will raise your hand. I will come inspect them. And then afterwards, obviously, since you're working for me, you deserve a payment, right? You have to get paid for your work. And so as a result, I have M&Ms as the payment, which you will get. Okay, and go. Remember, it's not a race. All I need is the product, okay?
Do you like the curves or the boxes?
I like the curves.
All right, we'll go with the curves. I like the curves. What is this? Look at the nose.
Once they finish, I'll stop the clock and see what our time was.
Who's for?
To finish up, it took us 2 minutes and 44 seconds that time, okay? Now, we're gonna do this again. As a business owner, that production's a little too slow for me. So, here's the deal. It is a competition. It is a race. The first team to get done with their 5 cool cats will receive a stipend of 5 M&Ms a piece, okay? But the team that silently raises their hand and says that they're done, okay? And then we're not gonna be, angry because it's gonna come down to the wire. I'm telling you right now, this is gonna be a very close finish. I just love the way you're building their excitement there. It's going to come down to the wire. Let me tell you, it's going to be close, but you're careful to tell them, but we have to have our inside voices here and not be too loud. Sure. Are we ready?
Yeah.
And go. I got to ship them out. My customers want them. My customers want them. And I was sitting over here, and it was exactly the same. I mean, they couldn't be more engaged. They were 100% engaged. Every kid was locked in. They were doing it. Great. Yeah. One of the most powerful ways to get kids engaged in an activity is have them compete with the other people. Sure. I mean, people talk about cooperative learning, and cooperative learning is great, but when you have a competitive, I mean, they're in.
I need the curve.
Competition is definitely healthy, but I think that it's a matter of how you approach it. I think that it has to serve a purpose, and you can't just have competition for the sake of competition. It has to lead to something better or greater. It took you guys 42 seconds to finish. Okay? So you got your 5 cool cats done in 42 seconds. All right, I wanted competition. You could see that there was really good competition in that, but the overall quality of the product wasn't that great. So we're gonna do it one more time. Only one team can win this time, but it's gonna be a little bit different. Not only am I grading on speed, okay? After you're done, I'm gonna come through and I'm going to inspect the quality of your cool cats. So even if you don't finish first, continue. So now it's about speed, but it's also about quality. All right, everybody ready? On my mark, and go. So to me, they were working together as a team, and although it was competitive, there was a sense of real collaboration. These are the coolest toys in town. Everybody wants one. Everybody wants one of my cool cats.
Chris. No.
Okay. Stop it. All right, so you guys are done second, and they're finishing. Okay, so I'll check these first, and then I'll check yours, and then I'll check this team. But the first time through, okay, we have 2:44. The second time was 42 seconds, and the third time was in the middle, was in the middle between the two. So 1 minute, 11 seconds. So if I look at these, I noticed that this mouth is really wide, so I can't accept that one. That mouth just isn't working. But I'll accept that one. How is he supposed to walk if his feet don't touch the ground? No. And the winner with the Cool Cat competition for this round is the following team.
Oh, wow.
They are eating out of your hand in that moment.
Right.
Every kid has turned towards you. Did we win or not? I mean, they are totally eating out of your hand.
Oh, wow.
What you guys just did is you took part in 3 different economic systems. We're going to go through all 3, and then we're going to determine which time you guys went through the assembly line and which model of the economic system you guys did, all right? So the first type is the market economy. And this type of economy, the decisions are made by the individuals, meaning that it's based on trade and competition.
If you just told them that stuff, that's one thing. But because they did the activity, it's more likely to stick. I'm not a real expert on memory, but what I do know is what I remember because it's attached, it's anchored in something.
The next one, a centrally planned economy, all right? Is usually when a central government alone makes the decisions, okay? So the government decides what's being made. The last one, mixed economies. Now this is a combination of the free market, but it also has a limited government involvement to it. Let's go back to the first round. Which of these 3 types of economic systems do you guys think you did? Yeah, Danny. Okay, why?
There was no incentive to work harder because there was nothing saying that you need to get this done fast. You just need...
Exactly, because you knew that when you were done, you were gonna get paid, right? You make your cat, you get paid, and that's it. So there's no incentive, perfect.
Those kids will always remember that little game they did with the Cool Cats. And the critical thing is for them to make sure they stick it with the different types of economies. That they remember first activity, second activity, third activity, here's what they're like. So I had a thought about maybe one way you could even make the connection more.
Sure, I love
Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
All right. And so what we're going to do is we're going to look at the defining characteristics of different types of economy. And then you say, okay, in the first one, how efficient was it? Well, it wasn't very efficient. So was it efficient? You'd probably say efficient. No. And you even say, what do you think? Let's hear some opinions here. Tell me, do you think that was efficient? Was it the most efficient one? They say, no, it took us 2.5 minutes. And you go through each of these things. Okay, what was the incentive? Everybody's going to get paid. There's no big deal. So there isn't really an incentive here. Okay, was there control? Not, and you go all the way through. And then you go to the second one. Okay, and the second one, how was the efficiency? Well, we got it done pretty quickly.
They did.
And so they fill in the little diagram with you, and you have a conversation about every box, and you fill it in. And then you come back and you say, okay, this is what's called, is it free economy?
A market economy, yeah.
Market economy. And then in the second one, we talked about a
command economy.
Command. And then we have mixed.
Yep.
And I think if they filled that in, my sense is it might deepen the stickiness.
It not only keeps students on the same page, but it allows them to really critically think about what of these characteristics, having them individually laid out, you can go one by one and then really kind of piece out and then formulate some conclusions based on the lead up to it, right? So if we had to guess about which economic system fit China, which one? If we had to just take a stab, but yeah?
I think it's the market economies because it seems like they do everything so fast and like...
Okay. So it's all about mass production, right? Getting everything out, shipping it over. Now, if you said all 3 of these, you would probably be correct. Because China is very unique, because it's a mixture of all 3 types.
One thing I've spent a lot of time thinking about is questioning techniques. So
okay.
What I want to run by you is some ideas about questioning, and then you can tell me if it makes any sense or not.
Sure,
okay?
Of course.
I think an important question to ask is, what's the purpose of the question? Is the purpose of the question to check for understanding, or is the purpose of the question to encourage dialogue and conversation in the classroom? If the purpose of my question is to check for understanding, then I would use right or wrong questions and close-ended questions.
Okay.
And close-ended means that they can't go on forever. There's a point where they've answered the question.
Sure.
An open question is one that you can answer it forever.
Okay.
If I said, what's your favorite town in Michigan?
Sure.
And why? That's an open-ended question.
Okay.
So if I said, name every town in Michigan,
that would eventually come to an end.
That's a close-ended question, even though they might talk a lot. Whether it's open-ended or close-ended, whether it's right or wrong or opinion, it's not about, is one of them better than the other? It's that there are times when you would ask an open-ended question, there are times when you ask a close-ended question. You just get different outcomes.
Now, of these 3, if we're looking at the United States right now, what type of economy do you think that the United States has? Any guesses? Maddie, what do you think? A mixed economy, why?
Okay, so you asked, I think, and then you said you could argue it different ways, but I would probably call that a close-ended,
Sure.
right or wrong question.
Yes.
We're checking to see if they've got the information.
Right.
If you wanted to at that point, if you asked an open-ended question, and you left it as an opinion question, you could get a lot more energy in the classroom, and the kids would have to do more thinking. But if you said, which one of these economies do you think would be better? Tell me why. I want you to discuss it with your partner for a minute, and then we're going to have a conversation about it. And you just throw it out there, and then they could all sort of explore the different kind of economies and give their opinions, and it would probably be a lot more lively conversation.
Sure. You know, we have to give them, a lot of times as teachers, we sometimes don't give them, I don't want to say credit, but we just don't give them enough, we just don't appreciate their intelligence as much as we should. Where we think that we need to facilitate it to an extent that, you know, we're essentially feeding them what we want them to know.
Well, when you ask these open-ended, non-judgmental questions, what I think you're doing is you're letting them do the thinking. And when you ask a close-ended, right or wrong question, what you're doing is you're checking to make sure that they've got it right.
Sure.
And there's nothing wrong with either one. You want them to be able to memorize certain kinds of concepts, vocabulary, but when you want them to do the thinking, just a simple question like, which economy worked best for our products, do you think, and why? You know, and to leave it open and it is gonna promote thought. So for me, just to think through carefully, why am I asking the question? When it's a check for understanding, close-ended, and right or wrong, and quick, lots of questions.
Sure.
But when it's the purpose is to promote thinking and to have them do it, it's quick, a quick question, but it could take them several minutes to discuss it. I'm going to ask a lot of questions when I'm checking for understanding. I'm probably only going to ask one or two when I want them to be doing the thinking part of it. And it's just important to think it through. So what I usually do is just say, you don't know who's going to answer the question, but I'm going to ask the question. And then if the kid gets a question and they struggle with the answer, it's repeat, rephrase, reduce. The first time when I repeat it, I just say the question again. You know, what kind of economy is the U.S. economy?
Sure.
And then if I rephrase it, I say, well, we learned about 3 different kinds of economies, and the U.S. is probably one of them. Which one do you think it is? And then if they can't do that, then I reduce it down to a smaller question. So I might say, well, I'm going to give you 2 choices. It could be this, it could be that, and you tell me which one it is. And that little phrase, repeat, rephrase, reduce, if I keep that in my mind, that's a way in which whenever I ask a question, I'm kind of ready to deal with it. And then what you can build into it if they're still struggling, so you can say, do you need to phone a friend? And if you need to phone a friend, if they say yes, then you look around the class and the kids who know the answer go like this, like they've got a phone call, and you say, okay, well, which one do you want to answer the question for you? And they phone a friend. So you can keep it going. You know, it's just a way that.
No, I like that because I mean it kind of tears down as you go. As an educator, you always have to be prepared and to know if the kids don't know, you can't just stand there and wait for a response. You always have to have something in your back pocket that you can pull out. And so that's kind of a tiered step down model. I think that would be a good way to look at it. So that is that for today. I hope you guys enjoyed being part of Cool Cats. I think that you were very hard workers, and I appreciate it.
I just loved watching the whole thing. I loved how into it the kids were, how much fun and energy there was, and I often say, well, would I want my kids to be in that class if they were at this school? And I would absolutely love for them to be in the class. I thought it was just a joy to watch the whole darn thing.